South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza. If you're celebrating a special occasion or just love fine dining, you're in the right place. Come experience the crown jewel of South Point restaurants, Michael's Gourmet Room.
Welcome.
With over 600 different types of wines and magnificent dishes prepared tableside, you'll revel in the rich classic Vegas decor and the best black tie service in the world. This intimate gourmet room has earned accolades galore. Come to Michael's Gourmet Room for an unforgettable dining experience. Another famous restaurant is the Silverado Steakhouse, where you'll find the charm and service that discerning patrons require. From top quality steaks and chops to fresh seafood and desserts, you'll love the award-winning wine list and menu at Silverado Steakhouse. Steak lovers have even more options with primarily prime rib. Catering to hearty appetites, the menu features a variety of flavorful prime rib cuts, dry-aged to ensure tenderness, and then seasoned and slowly roasted. Although prime rib is our specialty, it's not the only thing on the menu. There's something for everyone.
Heading to Las Vegas to catch the action at Allegiant Stadium? Skip the traffic and the sky-high room rates of the Strip. Book your stay at the South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa. The South Point is located just 7 miles away from the stadium, and it's a quick trip up the freeway, making it an affordable rideshare or taxi ride. And don't worry about getting here when you land in Vegas. We offer a convenient airport shuttle to get your getaway off to a stress-free start. Shuttles are also available on Raider game days for a small fee. So whether you're rooting for your team or seeing your favorite band in concert at Allegiant Stadium, South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa is your ticket to all the excitement.
Ready to ramp up your excitement for playoff football? Join our hosts as they break down the matchups, key angles, and futures markets in the final episodes of Football Frenzy.
Seattle Seahawks get it done.
You look at these two teams and you say, wow, they did really well against quality opponents.
Brock Purdy to throw an interception tied up with the Seahawks in this game. I think that's a little bit of a correlation.
I would have given a huge ups to the Rams defensively. Not anymore.
Don't miss your chance to cash tickets and root for your favorite team. Stream Football Frenzy every Friday at noon Pacific.
Welcome into Sports by the Book Football Frenzy. We are talking Super Bowl 60 coming up in less than 2 weeks. We've got Alex White, host of Sports by the Book. Hopefully you listened to our show yesterday. We had some great hockey plays, but we are not talking hockey today because we have two SBC Hall of Fame bookmakers on the desk with us. We have Vinny Magliulo of Gone Gaming and Johnny Avello of DraftKings. Welcome in, guys.
Good to be here.
Brian.
60, Super Bowl 60. Johnny, we've either bet or booked every Super Bowl. Think about that.
I think you're right.
I mean, even when we were...
Even when I was 8.
When we were... You say, Vinny, how could you have bet that? Well, Vince Lombardi was involved, so naturally, you know, being a Brooklyn guy, had to get involved at a very young age.
We had bookies at young ages. We really did.
Because we called them uncles.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll get things started for you, and we'll try and get through all the props. If we got 14 pages of props already ready here at the South Point, and plenty more available on DraftKings for the people out of state here in Nevada. But line on the game opened 5 here at the South Point, went down to 4.5. We're now back to the 5 here at the South Point. Total open 46, and we've gone down to 45.5, where it looks like it's everywhere in the market. So, Vinny, what are your first thoughts?
So back and forth, Ryan. Good on the point spread. Not a what we refer to oftentimes as a dead number, right? That 5, number, right? Not 3 or 4, not 6 or 7. So, not a very likely number to fall. Of course, now watch it happen. But the other part was so overall, some interest on both sides, depending on what that number was. I think kind of a feeling out by the bettors so far. But they did also take $1.95, and you see the money line right now at 220, which actually opened at 230. So did take additional 5 cents on the money line, and as you pointed out, a little move to the under right now, just by a half a point. But the public, when the public really starts getting involved, they'll be more inclined to bet the over. I did want to also point out, Ryan, you have that packet. I just got a packet from the staff upstairs, Chris Andrews and the staff here at the South Point, now up to 20 pages
All 20,
of
all right.
props. So which includes next year's Super Bowl future book. And remember this. Straight bets on the Super Bowl here at the South Point at 105, which of course is great value, and lots of props. Johnny, I know you guys have a lot of a variety on the game as well.
Yeah, it is a good deal. Minus 105 is about the best you're going to find. For us, we took a little bit different position on the game. We opened 3.5, and there's a reason for that. Our power numbers and ratings, as we like to call them, and we use a model and we use AI, and so things have certainly changed since I started making the power numbers. And I know your dad made them for a long time. We used to do everything manually, so now we get a lot of help from AI and that whole model that we built. But the number for us was closer to 4. We opened 3.5 because we're not in particularly good situation with the Patriots. We opened them at 65-1, and we never lowered them to a point where they were single digits until very late in the season. You could have still gotten in the 20s on them when it was still a couple weeks left in the season. And it's not because, we were trying to hold because we didn't think they could win. We just felt that their schedule was soft. They didn't play real good competition, and we didn't know how far they'd go with a Drake May, a rookie quarterback, but they're here now. And so we open a little bit lighter on the number, try to take some money early. And to be honest with you, we're never getting off of this. There's just no shot, because now that we're at 4.5, yeah, they have played the Seahawks on the side, but the money line is all Patriots. We're probably 70-30 Patriot money. So we're not getting off the game. We're going to have to live with it. And we're certainly going to be rooting for the Seahawks, no matter, where the money is on the game, because it's a pretty significant loss.
Do you think that is because of the regions and the states that you guys are available to? Do you think it's a lot of Patriot fans that might have taken the long shot on them, the futures, and then now on the money line here?
They're a popular team. They have a big following. Certainly back east in Massachusetts and Maine and those East Coast states. Patriots encompass, they're called New England.
Yeah.
At one time they used to be called Boston Patriots, but that no longer exists. They take over quite a few states. And so those states have all bet the Patriots, but the Patriots were, at that price, 65-70-1, that's pretty good value for a team that shows some promise. Kind of like what the Giants are going to be this year. New coach, have some good pieces. Maybe you could put it together, but how far can you actually go? This team, they went pretty far. Even if they don't win a Super Bowl, it's been a great year for them. So to answer your question, yes, it's popularity and a lot of bets from the back east states.
When you have futures and you have people oftentimes wonder about the liability in futures. Your biggest liability comes from when there's a long shot that gets to the postseason, right? I mean, the Broncos were another one here that was we kind of had to knock out. So going into that game, now you have two long shots or longer shots than say the Ravens and the Bills, obviously. So when the prices are shorter, as a bookmaker, you're not as exposed as you are with the long shot. And of course, and then after, let's remember this, the Patriots lost the first game of the season at home to the Raiders, one of the few Raider victories this year. And so everybody, your reaction is, well, you don't want to overreact to week one, as we've oftentimes talked about, but you're saying, well, they still have to build with the new coach and second-year quarterback, et cetera. Well, they proved us wrong in that regard.
Well, we've got plenty of props. We've got alternate sides, alternate spreads, alternate totals. But Vinny, I know you came down yesterday with a story about the first prop that'll cash for the game, the coin toss.
Oh my God, yeah. I have to tell you. So a couple of things about the coin toss. I remember the first year we put the coin toss up. It was in the early '90s, and I'm looking up at the screen, and it was simply team to win the coin toss. Okay, and I think it was the might have been the Bills and the I think it was Bills Redskins or Bills Cowboys at one of those Super Bowls. Anyway, I look up and I see team receiving a ball, so I automatically say, okay, pay the coin toss. So about 5 minutes later, I'm in the back, game is going on. One of the supervisors walks back and says, "Hey, Vinny, this guy out here, he says that we got the wrong we got the wrong price up here or the wrong result." And I'm like, what do you want? He said, "Yeah, listen, I bet them to win the coin toss. They did." I said, "No, they didn't. Look at the receiving." He goes, "No, they deferred." I'm thinking to myself, who deferred? What are you talking about? Who defers? This wasn't Belichick. It was who always deferred, right? Who defers in the Super Bowl? Sure enough, and we would record the game for such purposes, right? We couldn't rebroadcast it, obviously, but we would record. Is there something on the props that we have to, kind of take a look at? Sure enough, they deferred. So what did I do? I paid both sides. So whoever had a coin toss bet got paid. So the next day, the accounting department calls me and goes freaking. They're going out of their mind. Vinny, what about this coin toss? You paid both sides. I said, yeah, they bet twice as much on the halftime. Everybody had extra money. What was I going to do? I wasn't going to unpost it. Give everybody some money and then and let them play. So, but the coin toss now has evolved into, like here, for instance, there are three different ways to bet the coin toss. By the way, it's 102. So you could say which team will win the coin toss, obviously, Seahawks or Patriots. What will the opening coin toss be? Heads or tails? By the way, most of the time we need tails. And the player to call the opening coin toss, correct or incorrect. So there's three coin toss props. Immediate, absolute gratification, and people have money in their pocket for the in-game at the counter, or obviously on the mobile, or the half as well. But Johnny, you remember also, there's three props. We remember when there were no props, and you could just bet the game, the total, and the money line.
The gaming control board wouldn't even allow us to do this at one point. So it's probably been 20 years maybe since we've been doing it, but there was a time when they said, no, this is actually the best bet of the game, in my opinion. I mean, seriously, it's low juice. When you're looking at the game, the number's solid. So which side do you go with? Regardless of who you pick, you're going to, you have a feeling on you think who's going to win, but in reality, it could be either with that point spread, because the point spread's pretty solid after looking at all these teams play all year long. So why am I going to lay $1? Well, your guys are $1.05. That's pretty good. That's probably the best you're going to find. Most places are $1.10. This is $1.02. So bet this and go home.
Just enjoy the game. You don't just sweat anything out.
Well, Vinny, I think you were also telling us yesterday that you were talking about immediate gratification. Somebody bet both sides of the coin toss.
Oh my God! Well, so I did a little investigating as to the. So I had to call the guy and I had to say, you bet both sides of this. You bet it like 6 times. You bet heads, you bet tails, you bet. He says, "Yeah, I'm giving them out as presents. I'm having a Super Bowl party." So that was the reason for it, which that's pretty hospitable.
In half
so
there.
he's gonna have somebody's gonna cash it at this guy's house.
All right. Well, getting back into to things in the game, we've also got specific quarters: first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Specifically, we've also got a second half special of the Seahawks -2.5 and a total of 23. What do you think, Vinny?
Well, I think it's interesting because we're obviously basing that on what the number of the game is right now. So, of course, there'll be a separate halftime when that does when it comes to the half. But again, credit Chrissy for putting that up in advance. And again, people are trying to formulate their wagers. So let's talk about two sets of folks, right? You've got your professionals who are looking at the props right now, and Alex and I were chatting off air before we came on. There's been an uptick in the props. Now, South Point starts putting up the props on Monday, and as we know, our good friends at Westgate unveiled them. I think it was Wednesday night. And they have an unveiling and everything like that, and do a great job with it. Chris takes the approach, let's start putting the templates together on Sunday night after the conference title games and start putting up the props on Monday. So it's just a little kind of look and see. Why has there been such an uptick in the last 48 hours? Because professional bettors are now comparing props at the South Point. Okay, they're comparing props at Westgate, at DraftKings and things like that. And looking at opportunities to arbitrage and, perhaps even when it comes to some of the statistical props, then maybe there are middle opportunities and things like that too. So, but as far as, the quarters, folks, there's historical data and they'll look at these particular teams. So folks will look at quarters, they'll look at first half, and it's either, a buy or a pass. But and as Johnny can attest to, right, Johnny? I mean, you guys are probably seeing in your some 30 jurisdictions around the country where the props are also going to get an uptick and initially played by professionals and then the public.
Yep, we actually get these props up really fast because we put up this whole model of props for every game every Sunday. So we have a lot of content already, and so we put them up, and then when everybody else opens up, then the comparison happens. In my career and talking to a lot of the sharp bettors, they tell me that this is really their Super Bowl because there are so many different options for them to wager on. And they've always helped us out through the years. We'll have props like, will there be a safety? Will there be a 2-point conversion? All of those things where we know that the public is really going to be heavy on one side. And these guys have been able to take us off. Now, when I say take us off, they take us off just a piece or as much as we want them to take us off. But there have been times where, thank God, they've taken us off.
Yes.
I mean, there were a couple Super Bowls where those safeties hit. I remember when in that Peyton Manning game where the ball got hiked over his head, we were stuck $150,000 on the first play of the game.
2014, 60-1. Too soon, Johnny. Too soon.
Where do we go from here? So the props have always been in favor of the sharp guys, and a lot of that's arbitrage. They sharp around. They're looking, maybe they can take a 260 here and lay 260 and take a 270. I mean, they're always looking to grind out a little. So they're not always trying to pick a side. They're just, sometimes they do find a value in the arbitrage, and we're usually okay with that.
And the props have grown to where when you look at it in many, depending on the location, right, Johnny, they can accommodate for 60 to 65% of the handle. I mean, when you think about it, that's how much props have grown. I mean, and so sometimes 50-50, but there are places that have the props account for more than half of the Super Bowl handle. I mean, and when you look at Super Bowl handle, right? Let's look at last year here in Nevada, over 151 million wagered on the Super Bowl. less than the year before, but the year before, don't forget, it was here. So that set the record. That was $190 million. I mean, again, Super Bowl, single most wagered event of the year. Everybody gets involved in the Super Bowl. More money wagered on March Madness, but obviously that's not that's a 2.5 week run. So, but those numbers are interesting. And as we talk about props, how they've evolved from just a couple. First there were none, then there was a couple, and then and now to where they, as I pointed out, 20 pages here, Johnny, DraftKings with pages on their website and things like that. You can see, and again, depending on the location, upwards of 65% of a location's handle.
I always credit Jay Cornegay for the big menu of props. I mean, we put up props during the Super Bowl, and Vinny mentioned we'd have the game, the side total, and quarterback yards and attempts, but Jay actually, when he was at the
Imperial Palace,
yeah. He took it to a new level. He really did, and Jay will tell you that the props were probably bet more than they were the game, and I kind of found that strange, but I understand why, because he just had so many. And at DraftKings now, we're in a position where with our same game parlays, we're in that position now where we're handling more money now on everything else besides the game. The game's still big, right? But there's just so much more now that, that's into that overall menu of ours.
Well, we were looking at the menu and we were very impressed. Who comes up with all the names for the different, what were they called, Ryan?
Different player specials, but they all had different, pretty clever names based on the player.
We're pretty lucky to have a big staff working in a retail environment. There's Vinny, Chrissy, and they've got a few supervisors. We have a staff of 100 traders. Some are here based in Las Vegas. Some are over in Europe. We have them spread out throughout the world, and so we get a lot of help from a lot of different people. And some of the traders are not the ones that come up with those names. That's some of those young people that we hired that that are very creative in their thinking, and they come up with some of those names. So we're lucky to have that type of staff. That's why we're able to put up that much content. And so people will say, well, why does the Vegas guys do that? Because the personnel is just not there. I mean, everybody's got to work on a kind of a limited staff. But I think the town's done much better in getting a lot of content up over the past few years. So for the staffs they have, hats off to them.
Well, if you can't find something in 20 pages, then you don't want to bet.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the reality of it, right? But no, the credit, John, I mean, staffing is important. And I have to tell you, and Chris will say the same thing. I have to credit the staff. The staff here at the South Point, I mean, these folks have been working since before we posted the game, setting up templates. The actual setup and the wording of stipulations, because you've got your house rules, but you've got to put up stipulations with prop bets. For instance, the player must play but doesn't have to start the game. Things like that. You've got to always bear in mind how what you're going to put up and how it's going to be recorded, how it's going to be scored. You want to try to make it easy for the public to understand and easy for you to disseminate that information and to be able to obtain the results and post it. So there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, it's become a labor of love. But I'll tell you right now, without the respective staffs, as Johnny pointed out, couldn't get it done. So credit the staff for the great job that they do. And again, the kids here at South Point, they're still working. I mean, I was walking out and Ashley handed me, she said, Vinny, here's the latest sheet. And it's got 20 pages. So it's pretty good stuff by the kids up there.
Well, I mean, you kind of talked about the explanations, and Sean just had the graphic that had will there be in the game, the kind of three unanswered scores, team to win by exactly 3, but roughing the passer. And that has to be an accepted roughing the passer penalty, not just one called and declined or whatever. And then there's also the 4th down conversions, where if a team gets a first down on a fourth down based on penalty, that doesn't count. The team
Yes.
has to actually attempt to play on fourth down.
Read the fine print. Read again. And I have to tell you that, different places may grade different things. There was the missed extra point a couple of years ago, right? I think it was in the Rams, with the Rams game, a failed extra point or a failed 2-point conversion. And we had to tweak the verbiage on that because of the way things came out. So, no, you could wager the exact same prop at multiple places, and the verbiage may be different, on how it's specified. So, again, you want to pay attention to. We had a guy came running up to the counter last week on a teaser, and he's waving, and I won this teaser, and I won this. I'm looking at the ticket, and finally I looked. I said, "Wait a minute, you bet this down the street. It's not even our ticket. I'm not the commissioner." So pay attention to not only the house rules but the stipulations.
Something that you were also saying that you've taken a bit of action on was specific touchdowns. Player to score first touchdown, player to score last touchdown.
That's always a very popular one. And I'll tell you who's gotten the player to score the first touchdown of the game. Kenneth Walker of Seattle has gotten the most so far. I mean, can that change? Absolutely. I think there'll be some. He was at 4-1. Now 6-1. Which I'm sorry, 6-1. I think it's down to 4-1. So we may have to adjust that. But these will change as well, right? So there are. This is technically a future book when you look at it, the way it's structured, right? So as money comes in on a particular player or players, and let's say those odds come down, then you've got to be in a position prepared to say, well, I'm going to have to pump up somebody else to try to attract some money and mitigate risk and balance it. So that one, Kenneth Walker so far getting quite a bit of interest there, and the MVP, which has become extremely popular. And I'll let Johnny comment on this after I just point out Jackson Smith and Jigba at 5-1 has gotten quite a bit of attention. AJ Barner of Seattle. And Barner got support too for game's first touchdown. He's getting support for both first touchdown and the MVP and the field and any other player. And we've got about 25 players listed for MVP, and then there's a field. You've got to make sure everybody's listed. That one at 25-1 got a tremendous amount. That's gotten the most money right now. It's down to like 12. So, Johnny, you could speak to how popular the MVP has become too.
The touchdown score, going back about 3-4 years ago, became really first touchdown score became really popular on our network, and so we wanted to expand that out a little bit. So then we started to do anytime touchdown score, and then 2 touchdowns. So those 3 markets are very popular. Now we have 3 touchdown, 4 touchdowns, but those 3 are some of the most popular props that we offer. And people have just flocked to that, especially to anytime. If you look at anytime touchdown, you have Walker. You have to lay $1.80, but and it's no sure thing, believe me, because I've seen it where you have a player, the running back for Philly last year. Everybody thought
Barkley.
Barkley. Everybody thought that was a sure thing,
Right.
And you were laying some pretty stiff juice for anytime score. I think it was like 240 or so. Didn't get there.
And
but-
he was the favorite to win the MVP too.
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
that
in front
is
of
true.
Jalen Hurts even.
Yeah, and,
Very good
and to your
odds.
MVP, I find this a little different this year with Darnold, because normally if your team is going to win, then the quarterback is usually the MVP winner. Whereas the Seahawks, you have to lay 230 on the money line, but with Darnold, you're getting plus $1.25. So there could be some value there. But people are talking about the Jigba, he's going to have a big game, but the Jigba's not throwing the ball to himself.
Right.
Now, if the Jigba catches 12-yard passes and he does all the work for touchdowns, yeah, he'll deserve that. But someone has to throw him those balls. And, that's Sam Darnold. So I think at plus 1.25, might be a play rather than playing Seattle on the money line. Possibly. I mean, it's quite a discrepancy between minus 230 and plus $1.25. Sure.
I'm really getting there with Sam Darnold MVP too, because at first I was thinking JSN and Kenneth Walker, just what we've seen in the last few playoff games, right? They've both been outstanding. The Niners game, I mean, Kenneth Walker had 3 touchdowns, 2 or 3, and then last week, I mean, they couldn't even really cover Jackson Smith-Njigba, but with the story and everything that goes with Sam Darnold, they win the Super Bowl. It's his 5th team. We talked about like how much he's been through, so I could definitely see that.
Yeah, and favorite here, but he's the favorite at plus 1.25.
Last week's game won him the Super Bowl MVP. He did not have any mistakes, and he's prone to have at least one mistake during the game. He did not have it last week, so that could be maybe the downfall for him if he has a couple in this one. So if he stays clean and they win the game, he'd have a pretty good shot of winning.
And kind of talking about mistakes, that was going to be my look in the Super Bowl MVP odds. DraftKings has the guy listed at 55-1. We have him as 101 here at the South Point. But Marcus Jones, the defensive back for the New England Patriots, thinking, Sam Darnold makes a mistake. He's also the Patriots' return man. So any kind of touchdown there from Marcus Jones, I think, would be tremendous value, especially with his playmaking ability. And we've seen him also take offensive snaps as well. Kind of a two-sided of the ball player there, but incredible value there at 100-1 in my mind. But some other things that we've seen or caught Alex and I's eye on DraftKings was that of the record-breaking props. So will like a NFL record be broken? 7 passing touchdowns, passing yards in the game at 506 from either quarterback, receptions in the game 15 plus, yards by receiver 216 plus, or rushing yards 205 plus. Has there been much there?
There's always something there. And there'll be more as we get closer to game time. Now, remember, it's kind of just a play on words. I mean, we could put up, will there be 7 touchdowns in the game? I mean, but that added attraction of making it the record-breaking kind of adds to the attraction to also bet it. So, it's kind of a play on words and kind of works for us. But everything that we put up will write a fair amount of business. I mean, being in 30 different jurisdictions, there's something out there for everyone, So I'm confident that every single prop we have will write a substantial amount of money.
All right.
I want to ask about the betting squares and how those have done for you guys.
Yeah, betting squares are popular. You go into any bar and they have the betting squares up, and so we kind of took that and said, maybe we should develop something, put it on our site where the people can pick their own square. And it's been really successful. So we don't do it all the time. We've been mostly trying to stick to the Super Bowl. We have tried it on regular season games. Doesn't work as well. But on this game, since everybody is in some kind of pool somewhere, some kind of squares, we give them the option to do it themselves on the site.
Do you do it for quarters and half and game, Johnny? Is that?
I think it's up for just game.
Or just a game. Yeah,
it's just
that's
up
good.
For game, yeah.
Good. All right.
Another thing that I was kind of really surprised by, and all these player props are obviously based on NFL stats and that kind of stuff, but DraftKings also features the next gen stats of fastest ball carrier and what their kind of top speed is whenever they carry an attempt there. So I was really surprised by that. And Rashid Shaheed's obviously the favorite there. And I'm having to go 20 yards, 20 miles per hour on his fastest ball carry. But
it's obviously that's a model that, we have not put together. So we're following someone else's model.
Okay.
But again, it's just more entertainment, more options for our clientele.
Okay.
And, a lot of the stuff we do has been asked for by our clientele. And so when we get enough requests or we think it's, there's certainly some weight there for us to put that out there and get, people to enjoy that type of wager, we put it out. If it's successful, we go with it. If it's not, we'll take it down, try something else. That one seems to be pretty successful. We've done it in baseball and other sports also.
We're going to put one up. Which bookmaker gets to the tap house fastest after the game? So just to
Top speed there, too?
Oh, definitely, and it's always close.
Awesome.
We had a poll
Yes,
going.
yes,
We
we
want
do
to
have
hear
a
from
poll.
everybody who's watching live with us.
We have a poll and a post. So if you want to go to the description of our video, talking and post for the Seattle Seahawks, who will score the first touchdown for them. But for our poll today, for our live viewers, it's talking about first touchdown score for the New England Patriots. So we gave you guys, let me turn that one down. But we gave you guys, we didn't include the favorites here in this one, but Matt
Okay.
Collins at 9-1, Travion Henderson at 12-1, Hunter Henry at plus 450, or the defense and 550, and the Patriots defense or special teams at 14-1. So we definitely want your guys' thoughts in the live chat. If you guys want to comment and a different first touchdown score for the New England Patriots. But that was our poll for today. And then, talking about the Seahawks as well. That's over, again, in the description of our video. You can go vote there. You can also go vote in some other posts that we've included for Super Bowl 60. We'll continue to do those leading up to kickoff on Sunday. Another fun one that everyone seems to get a kick out of is towards the end of the game, the Gatorade bath and the Gatorade color. It looks like we've got blue as the favorite at $2. But orange $250, yellow and green at $260, purple at $8, and red 11-1, or water at 11-1 over on DraftKings. Any thoughts there?
Don't ask me how those guys. I mean, it's just a lot of research. Go back and look at what colors have been used in the past, what colors a team has used when they've won it. The colors of the jerseys, maybe have something. I have no idea how these guys put this together, but they do a little bit of research and put it up, and that is the one prop I would say out of all the goofy ones that we put up, that is the one that actually writes the most money. All those national anthem lengths, and we've stopped that. I mean, the national.
Yeah. I can tell you what happened with the national anthem. So when the game was in Tampa, let's see, the most recent game in Tampa was
Bucks
2021.
Yep.
Right? First home game, right? First home team to host, right? With Brady and the Buck. Okay.
2020.
So there was a guy down there out in the parking lot taping the national anthem and the rehearsals and calling it in. We didn't have it up, but it was up in I don't know if you guys had it up. But that's what happened.
Yeah.
So I mean, honestly, you love to do that, but when somebody's holding a high note and there's somebody out there with a stopwatch too, I'm not out there with the stopwatch and listening. So, but that's exactly what happened with that one there. So
sometimes we get a little foolish with these props, and we know that about ourselves through the years. We're always trying to outdo all the books in town. The guys know each other, and no one ever had a problem calling somebody to ask a question about, a certain player or an opinion on something. But we still, that competition between us always brought out those juices where let's see if I can outdo them with some different type of props. But we've made some mistakes by not thinking them through, as you mentioned with the disclaimers. Sometimes at the end of the game we say, oh my God, I didn't think that could ever happen. And so you have to be a little careful when you do put up these props, because you can really get bit badly and pay both sides, which happens quite often when you do make that mistake.
Or I'll tell you, probably the most expensive lesson in Nevada was Super Bowl 20 when the Fridge scored the touchdown. And your dad, Jason, will remember. Your dad, Alex, will remember this as well. Our good friend Art Manteris put it up. He was I think he was at Caesar. So that was 85 season, 86 Super Bowl. Okay, and here was the problem with it. It was a one-way prop. It was not yes or no. It was simply Fridge to score a prop, and it opened up at, like, I think Art said it was 20. I think it was some places actually opened it more. It came up with it and put it up, and it was one side. I think it closed at like 2-1. Of course, I think we're still paying that prop. Actually, that's that was an expensive lesson too. It was a one-sided prop, and when you've got an individual, again, you've got to be able to to learn from it. But but by the same token, that prop got so much attention. That's what really started to accelerate the evolution of props for the Super Bowl to really take off. And from that year on, every year, more and more props were put up.
Can you guys both give us a sucker prop to tell everybody to kind of stay away from? I know one of them, and I learned this from Chris Andrews 3 years ago, but a team will score three consecutive times, three unanswered times.
Mm-hmm.
The yes is pretty juicy, but it happens way more than you would anticipate. But a lot of people see that plus price, and they're thinking, there's no way it's going to go back and forth, right? So there's one. Can you think of any other ones that people should kind of just stay away from? And it's one that the sharps like to lay a price on the other side.
Oh, I know that people have bet the safety through the years are way ahead because of it happened twice in the course of 3 years. But that's one to me that very rarely. I mean, you look at all the games that where is there a safety? It's usually intentional. It's at the end of the game and the quarterback will go and take a safety just to end the game.
Yeah.
But besides that, it's very rare to see one. So that's one that even though you get a big number, you should be getting a much bigger number than that. You should be getting. I mean, I think we lowered it because we were burned.
Yeah.
I mean, we were given the first safety was 100 to 1, and any safety was probably 25. Now we're at 7 to 10 to 1.
I would say, Alex, and it's a good question. Will the game go into overtime? Yes or no? I mean, we've got yes. I'm sorry, the no at 24. 24 to 1 plus 12 to 1. I mean, but it's there. You want to offer it because here's the thing. It's like a lot of people will put $5 or $10 on it. Just if it hits, it's like because the other part of it is this. Let's say you're the average person, a casual fan, is watching the Super Bowl. They maybe not have made a football bet all year, but because it's, let's face it, the Super Bowl in this country is a national holiday. Okay, more people are going to call in sick the day after the Super Bowl than a lot of other days. Okay, and let's say your bankroll is a couple $100 to bet the Super Bowl. Well, you might make a straight bet on the game for 100. Let's say you bet 110, but then you're going to take that 90 and you're going to sprinkle it around. I'm going to bet all these long shots, and that's the mindset of a lot of folks. So you have to have it. So, yeah, is it unlikely? Yeah, but like as Johnny pointed out, you hit it one time, and how many times you hear this from people? I bet it every year. And I hit it, 5 years ago, so I'm still ahead. Things like that. So, so you have to offer it, and give folks the choice. But to your point, Alex, when you see those bigger prices like that, there's a reason that they're priced like that.
Do you want to ask him about the three?
Well, yes. Talking about, things that might bite you in the back. Talking about the exact score of the game. Alex and I were looking at that earlier this morning. And the 3-point, let's see, I believe
Which are you talking about the index of
the exact final score. So Seahawks 3 points is 60 to 1, and Patriots 3 points is 22 to 1. I have to think that's because of the Patriots-Rams Super Bowl a couple of years ago getting bid at that 3.
Oh, that was 2019, and the Rams. It was 500 to 1. And there was a guy, Chrissy tells us because we know the guy, and he came in, and I don't want to say his name on the air, but he comes in every year, and he either hits it or he's real close to hitting it, and he hit it 500 to 1 that year, and I think he won 6 figures on that prop. So yeah, I mean it's some of the long shots do come in, but again, as a bookmaker, hey, you put it up. You pay it, you pat the person, and you've got all these other props, and the game going for you, and don't forget, you're also booking the game dependent, as Johnny pointed out at the beginning of when we came on, where do you sit, what's your position future-wise, and if it's a bad position, then especially if both teams are bad for you, then you'd have to juice out as much as possible and write as much money on props as you can. But to your point, that was exact margin of victory prop. Yeah, that was or the Rams. It was the Rams to score exactly 3 points. So anytime there's an exact number, and the odds are higher on it because you have to hit that exact number. There's not a bracket, and you hit it, you get a big payout, and you deserve to get a big payout.
That's a tough one. I mean, if they're playing in like Denver last week with the snow, that makes a little bit of sense. Or if the game's in New England, cold weather.
Yeah.
But in San Francisco, it just doesn't look like it's a rational type of bet. I don't care what price you give me. If you gave me 1,000 to 1, I probably wouldn't bet it because to me it would seem like a waste of money. Although 1,000 to 1 would be good value. I would look more in I'm the kind of guy that looks more in maybe the 13-point range for a team, or maybe 24 points for the winner. That's where I'd be looking at. But you got to be exact on that. You can't be 1 point away. You have to be exact. So that's a tough one to play. But
Patriots,
that will write quite a bit of money.
Patriots 13-3 in that game. That was Rams exactly 3 points. Yeah.
Do you guys happen to have a score prediction for this Super Bowl?
No, I don't. I'll tell you. Again, in our position, listen, and I've said this, and I'm going to have the shirts made. Don't ask me who I like. Ask me who I need. So, and there's a long way to go.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's true. I don't have a prediction either.
Okay.
I mean, when I look at the game, I look at the Seattle team who just came off of beating a couple of really good quality teams. The offense seems to be clicking pretty good, whereas the Patriots seem to be sputtering a little bit. But that team is really well coached, and I'm sure the practices are going really well for the Patriots. It's an organization that wins, and it's a coach that I consider to be one of the best in football. I think this guy is really tremendous. So that's why I don't have any real opinion on the game. And I remember Bud Black asking me once down at Del Mar, he said to me, Are you a San Diego Padre fan? I told him, I'm a fan of whoever the house needs tonight. So that's usually my feelings on the game.
Yeah. Well, going back to prop talk, is there any specific set of props that you normally like to look at? Or are you just strictly looking at value?
You mean for wagering on?
Yeah.
I've been looking at these props for so many years that I don't know if there is any. We do such a good job on them now. I mean, the numbers are really good. A lot of the numbers are the same through the years. Some have been tweaked. I'm not sure you're going to find any real value any longer. Okay. I mean, some value where mistake type of value. I just think everybody's so dialed in on these props now that I'm not sure that you're going to find something where you say, wow, they made a mistake on that one.
Okay.
Ryan, if you're looking at that, that's a great question because you look at the game, right? And okay, right now we're sitting at 5 and 45.5. But if you do like a side, okay, maybe it's something where you at least consider looking at the alternate point spread props. So if you say you like the Seahawks at -5, and here at South Point you can lay 105, okay. But if you like them at -5, do you think they can win by more than 5? Do you think that the Seahawks can win by 8 or more? And take 8-5, take $1.60 for your money. So that's something to consider. If you like the Patriots, first of all, to win the game, say, you know what? No, the Patriots are going to upset this team. Well, obviously, you could take the money line at +190, but you could also say, the Patriots are going to win the game by at least 4. Okay, so you could lay 3.5 and take almost 3-1 for your money too. So as a bettor, if you're formulating in your mind who you like in the game to win the game, first of all, and then say, okay, well, I think they can win it by this, you can lay the 105 taking or laying the points, or the alternate point spread prop, where now you're going to be able to take a pretty good plus price no matter what. So that's just something else to consider.
What do you say to people that maybe don't bet that much, have a certain unit size per week every Sunday? They like to bet on some NFL games, and then they're going in the Super Bowl, and then they're going to up it, right, and make all of these bets. How would you tell them to kind of tread lightly in that regard?
Yeah, I don't. Being in this business for as long as we have, I'm very aware that there's problem gambling out there. Very aware of that, and we put a lot of time and money in that to convey the message. If you have a problem, to reach out. So to answer that question is whatever the way you've been playing and you're comfortable and that's entertainment for you, you stick with that. Just because it's a bigger game, that doesn't mean that you have to bet more. It doesn't mean that things are easier. So my advice is just stay with what you've been doing and don't go overboard.
Johnny brings up a good and important point. Stay within it. People tend to go overboard with big events, and we talk about it often. Right? So, look at the first week of the NFL season, the first week one, regular season. Right? Everybody's ready for football. It's building up. There's some exhibition games, preseason games, and things like that. There have been trades, the draft, all these things. And now it's week one. People will go, wow, I got to, go overboard. Don't go overboard. Stay within your means. And that may sound counter to what a lot of people think. Don't you want everybody to bet? No, stay within your means. This is still entertainment. I don't want to see anybody, no good bookmaker wants to see somebody go busted. That's the worst thing that could happen. So stay within your means. If you're, let's say, you're on a typical Sunday, I'll go back to a similar example as I talked about a few minutes ago. If you bet a couple $100 a week, well, again, maybe just sprinkle all of it throughout the props and some things like that. And you could still have something on the game, especially at 105 or an alternate point spread. But now you're also involved for the entire game. So let's say a bet loses, you might pick the wrong side, but you might hit 5 prop bets too. But it's still within your means. Do not exceed what you would normally do. Don't go overboard.
I bring it up because I was kind of like checking myself because I'm diving and looking for all these props. And on Sunday when I made my number, I thought for sure I'd have a huge play on Seattle, and I made it 4.5. Right? It just goes to show, like you said, everybody's adjusting throughout the year. You have all these data points on these two teams, so they're so sharp that you don't want to go overboard and go crazy on this one game when it's the sharpest numbers of the year to go against you guys.
But you don't have to bet the game, Alex. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
So again, right, you can you've got the choice. Well, we have to book the game, but you don't have to bet the game. You can pass on everything, obviously, but you can sprinkle in some props or watch the game and bet in-game. Because let's face it, John, you're right. I mean, talk about a little bit how much more in-game has gone, right?
Yeah, I think in-game is a really valuable bet because you're looking at a game and you say, and your circumstance here, let's just take that point, is that you don't want to lay to 4.5, but if New England scores first in this game, you're going to get, you're going to be pick or maybe even plus a point. Mm-hmm. So maybe, and if it doesn't show up, then you let it go. As a gambler, you have to be able to say no sometimes. Like, it didn't happen for me, I'm out. Perfect example of that is I've got Miami, Florida, and I got them just before they drew to 12 teams at 75-1. And so I'm in a really good spot with them. And so I'm looking to get off Miami at some point. First, it was, I had Indiana. Indiana was playing Oregon, and I had Oregon too. So Indiana's playing Oregon, and I'm looking for a spot to get off of that with Oregon, and it never happened. And then in the final game, I couldn't get off in that game either. So sometimes the spot's not there. You just let it go, and it didn't work out. And next case. That's the way I think better. That's being a disciplined bettor. You're not chasing. You're not finding what's out there for you. So you just let it go and wait for the next opportunity.
I was thinking that you didn't lose more trying to chase, right?
That's
And
Yeah.
getting in a bad middle spot there.
Yep.
Well, going to being a fan of the game, do you have any story that like a favorite prop or a favorite game looking back?
I got plenty. One I will tell you was that a guy walks in and he wants to bet $1 million on the Patriots against Seahawks. And okay, we say, okay, no problem. So he has the money sent in, wired in. It's very easy transaction. We go to the cage, we get the chips, we bring it over. He makes the $1 million bet. And so you guys remember how that game ended,
Yep.
right? So after the game, I asked the guy, I said, what was your reasoning for betting the Patriots that day? And this is what he told me. He told me that he had a dream that the Patriots were going to, and that's the reason he made that bet. So his dream turned into my nightmare. But for him, it happens. I mean, to come in and bet $1 million on a game like that because you saw something. I have never seen anything like that personally, but it happened for him. But that's just one story of many of these games of, because to me, and I know you find it the same way, is that there's nothing greater than interacting with your customers in the book. I mean,
It's the best.
that's the part of the retail business that I miss the most. All the stories, everybody coming up wants to know what I think. I want to know what they think. It's just been the highlight of my career is interacting with the customers.
If you don't interact with your customers, you're missing out. Because this has got to be fun too. I mean, it's a labor of love. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this for this long. I mean, Johnny and I, and Chris. I mean, we've been in the business almost 50 years now in Nevada. I mean, so you look at it and you go, wow. But so there's definitely that part of it. I'll tell you a great story that involves the owner of this property, Michael Gaughan, and it actually, I think this was it. And I said about my coin toss story where I paid both sides. I think it was this game. It was 1992 Super Bowl, and it was Washington and Buffalo. And Michael Gaughan, first of all, I can't do the story justice. He has to tell it, but I'll give you the gist of it. The Barbary Coast. I was at Caesars. Johnny, we were at Bally's, I think, at the time, and Michael was on the other corner, whatever of the four corners of the Strip and Flamingo. And Michael decided to put up -6.5 plus 7.5. So you wanted the favorite. You're laying 6.5. You're laying. You want the dog. You're taking 7.5. He's got a dead middle on 7. Okay. There was a line out the Barbary Coast, which I still call it the Barbary Coast. What is that place called now?
Cromwell.
Cromwell. Okay. So just so people know, give that now. If you come out the Barbary Coast, which is right on the corner, the line was out the door and headed east on Flamingo, like for 3 blocks. That's how people were, and cars trying to pull in the garage and things like that. That's how much they did. Now, if you remember that game, it was hovering, and I think the Bills were driving late. The possibility of the game falling 7 was alive.
It was definitely intact.
Okay, but let's go. You brought up the Gatorade before, right? But at the time, the outcome was determined, right? Washington was going to win. The question was by how many? Instead of watching the game, and the cameras are on the game, they got the guys with the coats over them, trying to sneak up and dump the Gatorade on Joe Gibbs. Wait, really? Can we see what can we see what's really going to happen here? I mean, So now Michael Gaughan, and what was the moral of the story? He watched the game from his house. He would not come to the hotel that day, and he made a pact with God. I will never do it again. That is a true story.
Never set up a middle.
Oh my God. I wish nobody would ever do that again, would they?
No,
No,
because
it's
one of the games. Remember this. Remember, Black Sunday, which was the '79 Super Bowl between the Steelers and the Cowboys, where Jackie Smith, unfortunately for him, he didn't catch that touchdown. That game fell 4. That game was 3.5 to 4.5 and 5, and the game fell dead in the middle. And
That's referred to as Black Sunday.
Black Sunday. That's Super Bowl. Now, if that Super Bowl were today and that happened, now you're talking about 1979, where I mentioned the numbers about how much handle there is today. Back then, not maybe 20% of the handle is today. It was still very costly to the properties. But if that happened today, Johnny and I'd be back in a dice pit.
True.
or have brooms and dustpans with our initials on them. So, yeah, be a different story.
Well, going back to the rematch, the original Super Bowl of this game, Patriots Seahawks, and the final play that Johnny mentioned, there is a prop available of will the Seahawks throw the ball from the 1 yard line or from inside the 1 yard line in this year's Super Bowl, which I thought was hilarious for customers.
You got Marshawn Lynch. I mean, Marshawn Lynch, if you give Marshawn Lynch the ball 4 times, the chances of him not getting in are probably, 1 to 100, right? And at minimum. Now you got Kenneth Walker. So, it's Kenneth Walker's probably going to get the ball in, but they could possibly throw the football, because that not giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch is, I think we'll always think about that and why they did not. But hey, that happens in sports. Things happen. Guys make decisions, sometimes bad, sometimes good, and that one was a bad one.
So that was 2015.
Yes.
I can tell you right now, I'd give the ball to Marshawn Lynch today, 11 years later. Just on adrenaline alone, I think he'd get in. Unbelievable.
Alex, do you have any props you want to give out today?
Not officially.
Okay.
I think I'll get them all ready to go for next week, and we'll start giving some out starting Monday.
Okay.
I think you have a couple though, right?
There were a couple that stood out to me, and kind of talking about it with Alex pre-show was total sacks in the game. You can bet it both sides, each team here at the South Point, 3.5 for the Seahawks, 2.5 for the Patriots. Those are their defense to record that many sacks. But I would be more so inclined to take the Seahawks side over that 3.5, getting a plus 140 price there. We kind of looked at the history, not just the last 3 games for the Patriots, where Drake May has taken 5 sacks in each of the last 3 games. But his season-long total, he is averaging 3 sacks a game, so you'll need an extra one from the Seahawks defensive line. And then looking at the opposite side, Sam Darnold to take sacks. We looked at his median was 2, so under that 2.5. But his average is 1.7 sacks a game throughout the entire season, including the playoffs. And he's gone sack less in 4 of their 19 games. So the Seahawks offensive line doing a better job at protecting Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold doing a better job at not necessarily taking sacks and getting rid of the ball. And then another one that I was kind of looking at, you're talking about interceptions for each quarterback. If you take the yes on Sam Darnold to throw an interception, it's minus 130 here at the South Point. You take the yes on Drake May to throw an interception, it's minus 135 here at the South Point. But the total interceptions in the game over 1.5, you're getting a plus 120. So you just need one quarterback to throw 2 and you're a winner, or you need both quarterbacks to throw 1 and you're a winner there at the plus 120. And then the other thing that I was looking at was the first touchdown in the game to not be a passing touchdown, to be it's any other TD listed here at the South Point. But I would kind of think it is a rushing touchdown, being that both teams' first touchdown scorer favorite is their rusher. So give me the plus price there at any other touchdown being the first touchdown, not a passing touchdown.
Good, right?
So those are the 3 that I'll give out today. Remember, we do have our shows Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Here on the Sports by the Book channel. We also have for the horse betting racers or horse race bettors, Ralph Sirocco live at 7 to 8 a.m. every morning on the South Point Studio channel. Over the weekend as well, he also have some Super Bowl picks as well from his guests. But keep in mind for the programming over the weekend. But Johnny, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Poll.
Yes, an update on the poll. We finished that one up, and 40% of our viewers going with Hunter Henry to score the first touchdown for the Patriots today, getting a plus or next Sunday, getting a plus 550 price currently. Matt Collins and Travion Henderson and the Patriots defense and special teams all tied with a 20% of the vote there. 9-1 for Hollins, 12-1 for Henderson, and Patriots defense special teams at 14-1. Keep in mind, you can still go and vote on the Seahawks first touchdown score in our posts on YouTube. But thank you for.
I will just throw out this one because I think the number might drop.
Okay.
I actually think Vinny said he was taking some action on it. I went on Seahawks defense or special teams touchdowns the last 2 weeks. Did not get there. I'm going to go combined, though, here at the South Point 3091. I will be on the yes for a defensive or special teams touchdown. We got one last year with the Eagles and Cooper DeJean. So I'm thinking we're going to get one this year.
3091, Alex.
3091 plus 270.
Plus 270. There you go.
There is also.
I think it could happen on either side, to be honest. But
Yeah, you talk about either side. There is over on DraftKings both teams to record a defensive and special teams touchdown, getting I think 18
That all
to
plays
1 there.
into your interceptions too, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right. Yeah.
could happen that way too. Also,
I know we're over time, but I do want to ask you guys, with that being said, it's kind of tricky if we're thinking it's a defensive battle, but those could turn into points.
Sure.
So then it makes the total really hard. But are you guys expecting both defenses and a kind of a defensive battle here?
I think the game will start off on the slow side. But sometimes in these Super Bowls, when we get to the fourth quarter, everybody's loose at that point and throwing the ball, and so that's why it's so hard to bet the under in the Super Bowl. But the sharps very seldom will bet the under. They're not much of over bettors in much of any type of a game. Always looking for the under. This number might be a little bit maybe too low for them to go under, so not exactly sure where they'll land.
Well, both defenses are capable of scoring, right, and special teams too. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking to bet the over, you're going to need that. So yeah, but again, I know next week we'll have a week's worth of shows, and there'll be more prop. So 20 pages of props here at South Point, 105 on the side, either side. There will be more props next weekend, right before as we get into the cross sport props, where we'll look at the NBA, college basketball, and hockey, and have some fun with cross sport props as well. So there's always something to add.
All right. Well, I thank you to our crew, Sean, Drew Dog, for putting graphics together, Ann and Jerry, and Vince, doing all the work that they do for our show. And thank you guys. Thank you to our viewers for tuning in today and watching Football Frenzy. Keep in mind, we do have another Football Frenzy next Friday, the last one of the 25-26 NFL season, college season as well, because we did that earlier in the year. But thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week, and good luck on all of your other plays this weekend.